Hello and thanks for joining us for another panel discussion at the South China Morning Post. I'm Chief News Editor Yonan Latu. With me I have the usual suspects, Senior Editor Cliff Buddle and Senior Editor Louisa Tam.
Hi.
Right? And today we're going to talk about everybody's favorite subject, pollution. Frankly speaking, it's nothing new. It's an old problem that we have in Hong Kong, but it's in the news recently. Today we have a story in the paper saying the air quality targets have been tweaked by the government to favor development plans. So basically what's happened is the same old air pollution, is the same old filthy air outside. It still looks like Gotham City every time you look out of your window. But the fact is now the government has recently adjusted its air pollution objectives, and there's some controversy over it. But I mean, frankly speaking, before we go into numbers and all the academic discussion, Cliff, our bodies are reacting to how bad it is, right? I've had a sore throat for weeks now. I don't have a cold, I don't have the flu, and I've got a blocked nose and a sore throat, and it just won't go away. How are you doing?
The real problem for me was last week, actually, when the pollution was really bad and when visibility was very low. Waking up on my day off, wanted to go for a hike, set off on a hike, had to give up. It was just, I just reached a point where I was thinking, this is not doing me any good. Quite the opposite.
We keep talking about PMI, PMI 2.5, these particulates, whatever, and everything is all nicely measured, and we're given figures every day, and we're told it's serious, or it's moderate, so it's okay. But on a practical level, it's much worse, isn't it?
I think the air should be cleaner, but now it's the same thing. I remember seeing people on Facebook nowadays like putting pictures out like blue sky. When they see blue skies, they think it's almost like seeing a total eclipse. They get really like a rare phenomenon. Wow, blue sky in Hong Kong. When was the last time we saw blue skies?
That's
in Hong
exactly
Kong?
the question I was going to ask us. When was the
When
last time?
was the last time? I
remember?
mean, since Christmas. I mean, I've been away for a little bit to see my family, and I came back, and then since I think 3 weeks already, there's no blue skies picture on Facebook or anywhere. I don't see anything.
It's staggering, isn't it? Because I mean, Hong Kong's a beautiful city, but most of the time you don't really get to see it. And when you do get a clear day, really it takes you by surprise.
The visibility in terms of when you look out of your window and you can see across the harbour or not, that's actually a good measure to see how polluted the day is. But they don't necessarily match with the figures that the government puts out on a daily basis, right? I get the impression, maybe you guys, I don't know if you guys get the same impression, but I get the impression that they've done lip service with the figures, so to speak. So they're adopting higher standards officially, but at the same time, their higher standards are at the lower tier of international, the international norm, the one set by the World Health Organization. I mean,
so it makes it more reachable.
Yeah.
It's just like you talked about poverty, right? You said there are X number of people, they are poor, like living below the poverty line. And then you lower the poverty line, then everybody's no poor anymore because it's all way beyond them. Same with the pollution figures that Cliff, we were talking about earlier.
Well, they've set new objectives, but one of the environmental NGOs here has criticised them on the basis that they're not aggressive enough. And the suspicion is that what's happening is that actually we are making progress. With key pollutants, we are making some progress, but that needs to be factored in when considering how aggressive our targets should be, and we should be pushing them further forward rather than settling for targets that we feel very confident we're going to reach anyway.
What about, Louisa, I mean, this is your area of interest. What are the solutions? Electricity, electric cars, less use of fossil fuel?
I drive electric car, but that's the least I can do because I'm not taking pollution, out of the equation, but I'm just concentrating pollution to the power plant. So the source is the power plant, how you generate electricity. I can't do anything more because that's the option I have. The best option as a consumer, I can just not take the pollution onto the street, to spread it around the city. So I still believe, taking care of the cars, the number of cars, the increase is almost like 4% every year. We need to think about that instead of just letting these cars, the number of cars to grow, but stopping the pollution from them. Stop at the source. This is really most important. And look after the kids. The kids are exposed to it every day.
But this is a global problem, right? All other countries, or many other countries are having the same.
Well, I traveled to Europe, not so much a big problem though in Europe, but I went to Guangzhou recently, the same.
We've seen it in South Korea recently, in Thailand. I mean, the South Koreans are blaming China.
South Korea, it's an old problem, right? They've always had this pollution problem, but now it seems to be getting a little more political as well, so blame China. They've always blamed China as well, but now when they're blaming China, it's making a lot more it's getting a lot more traction. People are reading about it and saying, "Oh, what's happening over there?"
China is quite scary. When I just going through some research, it is crazy. You look at the top 100 locations, more than half Chinese cities. It's just incredible. India may be the top 5, but you go down, scroll down to the next 95, more than half, 40, 50.
Delhi is pretty horrific as well.
It's just horrific, and then we're just right on the doorstep. That is so scary.
I think we shouldn't get into the, it's a dangerous thing to do where you look at other cities and you say they're worse, the whataboutism kind of thing. Whereas, this is a third world problem that we're experiencing
in a first world city. In a first world city. Trust my throat, okay? My knees can tell you whether it's humid or dry. My throat can tell you whether it's bad weather.
I can't disagree with you there. I think we have to use our bodies as barometers because of the mixed signals coming in terms of figures and stats we get to say, hey, it's actually better. My throat is not, my nose is not, and yours is not either, so...
Oh God, we're falling apart.
What a negative way to end this discussion, but I think that's about all the time we have for, so... Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time very soon.